Have you ever looked at a property and thought, this property looks great, only to find out that it was your biggest mistake ever? Too many people buy real estate based off of emotion and not numbers. Y'all know I'm a chemical engineer and I love numbers and I love figuring things out. And as a real estate investor, you need to start figuring these things out to see if that property is a good property before it become a money pit and a disaster. Number one, know your purchase price. The first thing I look at as an investor is the purchase price. That might be like, that's common sense. But look, common sense ain't common to everybody because some people are looking at what the seller wants. You need to ask yourself, is the property priced at market value? Does the rent support the purchase price? And will I have room to profit for cash flow? Like, am I going to profit and make cash? I keep telling everyone, you're not in this business as a nonprofit. We're trying to make money and you need to make sure you have cash flow. And if you are renting a property, that the rent supported. You cannot buy something and expect to charge people 3 times of what the market rate rent is in the area and make a profit. It's not going to happen. So those are the 3 things that you need to look at. Number 2 for analyzing a deal is estimated repairs. You need to determine what are the needed repairs. You need to look at the roof, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, flooring, paint, kitchens and bathrooms. Those are the number 1 things there. One of the fastest ways to lose money is underestimating repairs. So when you're doing your scope of work, prior to even getting into the scope of work, when you're trying to understand how much money you need to put down on a property or seeing if that number is correct, you need to make sure that you don't underestimate the repairs that need to happen. That gets people caught up every time they buy a property and realize, hey, I got to put another additional $10,000 to $15,000 into this property, and you didn't even estimate it for it from in the beginning. So make sure you understand how to estimate your repairs. Number 3, determine the market rent. Find this out. This can actually find out what your property can rent for. You can use Zillow, Rent-A-Meter, Facebook Marketplace, local property managers, realtors. They can help you with this. Don't just guess. You need to verify this number. This makes a world of difference when you're trying to calculate your cash flow and analyze the property. Calculate monthly expenses. Number 4, many new investors only think about just the mortgage and maybe the taxes. But look, there's a list of things you need to be looking at. Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, vacancy on that property. It can happen if you decide to hire a property manager, HOA, and your mortgage. And you might need to look at utilities too. So there's a list of things that you need to think about when it comes to expenses. Don't leave anything out. Include it all, y'all. Seriously, include it all. Every expense matters. Number 5, calculating cash flow. This is a question that all investors must ask themselves. How much am I getting paid each month after this property? So if you had a property, rent is $1,500, expenses around $1,100, and you have a positive cash flow of $400 that month on that property, is that good? Is that good for you? Positive cash flow is where we want to be. It's better than negative cash flow, but you should be able to make that calculation and understand what cash flow means. So let's walk through an example of how we can do this calculation. First, I find a property that's listed for $100,000. Sounds like a great deal. The property looks good. I like the cost and everything, but we don't buy on emotion. We buy on numbers. The first thing I'll do is estimate the repairs. Let's say the property needs about $15,000 in repairs. New painting, flooring, plumbing repairs, a lot of cosmetic things to get the property rent ready. Next, I'll determine what the property can realistically rent for. That's after checking rent comps in the area. I find that, hey, I can rent this property out for $1,500. Now let's look at expenses. All in, we're looking at about, when you add everything up, $1,050. So now we got $1,500 for rent minus the $1,050 in expenses. Our cash flow is $450. That's what's going into my pocket each month. Does that sound good to you? Realistically, does that meet your expectations and the goals that you established when you looked into purchasing this property? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So over a year, that's 450 times 12 months. That's going to give you $5,400 a year. Now, that's nothing else crazy happens, but does $450 a month, does that sound good? Is the neighborhood stable? Am I comfortable with the repair budget? Could I put my money somewhere else and get better returns? These are the questions you should be asking yourself. And if you answer yes, think about, is this property worth pursuing? If not, then we move on to the next opportunity, because at the end of the day, we're not buying houses. We're building generational wealth and putting money in our pockets. We're trying to make money on these deals. So remember, successful real estate investing isn't about buying the most properties. It's about buying the right property that can put cash in your pocket. A property can look amazing and still be a bad investment. Trust me, been there, done that. Look, keep learning, keep analyzing, and keep taking steps toward building wealth. I'm Verna Stone, and this has been Real Estate Investing Tea with V. Until next time, learn, invest, build wealth, and let's continue to secure that bag one property at a time. See y'all next Tuesday.